Naomi, yes, as much as possible. Harper flung open the refrigerator door, placed a trash can in front, and began energetically tossing out the contents shelf by shelf. What is this? I always bring you fresh, pricey groceries, yet you buy this junk. Honestly, I'd understand if you were eating it. Why do you need these cheap canned goods? You have plenty of good meat in the freezer. And this piece of cheese, it's ancient, all crusted over. And it's not even real cheese, just a cheese product. You haven't cut a single piece of it. And what's this? Smoked wings? With your gastritis, that chicken was probably so old it had to be put down. Harper, grumbling good-naturedly, glanced at the quiet old lady sitting by the table. Isabel, sweetheart, what else do I have for entertainment? I'm always alone. I'm sick of the TV. I sit on the bench near the house so much that the pattern of the slats is imprinted on me. And going to the store, wandering around, standing in line, chatting with new people, discussing the latest news, listening to local gossip. It lifts my mood and makes time fly. Harper felt a pang of sympathy for her charge. Naomi was truly alone. What else could she do? Harper suddenly remembered how they first met. That day, Harper was trudging home from work, heading back to the dorm where she rented a small room. The living conditions were, to put it mildly, less than ideal. One kitchen, shower room, and bathroom per floor. She had to buy a hot plate to cook in her room, just like in her student days. But it was better than queuing at the communal stoves with a dozen other residents. It felt like everyone was peering into your pot. But Harper had no money for her own place, and it didn't seem likely to change soon. Though she saved part of her salary, it was such a small amount that she'd be saving for another 30 years. Deep in these thoughts, Harper walked through the park. The evening twilight gave the park's paths a magical glow. The sun set behind the tree crowns, its rays breaking through the golden leaves, gently touching each branch. Mesmerized, Harper sat on a bench to take in the beauty. "Are you tired, dear?" a soft voice asked nearby. Startled, Harper noticed an elderly woman beside her, watching the setting sun thoughtfully. A little, Harper smiled. "I ran around a lot today, my legs are buzzing. And I don't want to go back at all. My dorm isn't exactly home." "Why do you live with your parents? Seeking independence?" "I have no parents. They passed away a long time ago. They lived in the countryside. The old house is still there, but it's uninhabitable, and I have a job here in the city." Harper realized she was opening up to a stranger, but the old woman's kind, understanding gaze made her want to pour out her soul, something she hadn't done in a long time. The old woman nodded sympathetically. "I understand. Loneliness is tough. I'm alone too. Sometimes it's so overwhelming, I could howl like a wolf. And there's nothing ahead." "Exactly," Harper agreed. "I walk like a robot along the same route. Work, homework, everything's the same, nothing changes. It's like I've been programmed to walk in circles. No change, no future." Both women sighed heavily, lost in their thoughts. Then the old woman raised her head. "You know what, dear? Come live with me. I'm alone. It'll be more fun together. I'm Naomi. And you?" "Harper." The young woman introduced herself, a bit taken aback. 2 years have passed since that fateful day. Harper moved out of her dorm room and in with Naomi. This move seemed to be a turning point, dramatically changing Harper's life. She got a promotion at work, leading to a significant salary increase. She bought new clothes and started visiting beauty salons. Long evening chats with the old lady seemed to free her soul, making her more open and often smiling, which made her even more attractive. As a result, men started paying attention to Harper. Initially, she ignored this, but soon one of her admirers won her favor. Love soon consumed all her thoughts and feelings. Naomi was delighted for her young friend. She sometimes offered advice. "Isabel, dear, don't give your man too much freedom. The unattainable sparks imagination and binds strongly. Trust me, with my experience, I know something about human relationships. Naomi dear, I get it. Harper waved off. But what shall I hide? I'm not a young girl anymore. It's high time to get married. My peers already have kids, and I'm still single. Exactly. The old woman nodded. And choose a partner who's established. Someone with a position, not a young guy from a dorm like yours. Such conversations usually ended inconclusively. Harper grew very attached to Naomi and felt guilty about not spending more time with her. But personal life needed attention too. Usually, Harper would do a thorough cleaning on weekends, like today. She emptied the fridge, washed the windows, dusted, and vacuumed the carpet. But the carpet had a nearly mystical story. Right after moving in, Harper wanted to take the carpet outside and beat it properly. She was surprised when Naomi objected sharply. Do whatever you want. Rearrange the furniture if you must, but don't touch the carpet. Why not? You can't just vacuum it forever. It needs a deep clean eventually. Harper was puzzled. The carpet was small, 2 by 3 meters, handmade, but what was so special about it? Naomi said her late husband brought it from Central Asia, and it was dear to her, but cleaning wouldn't harm it. It was even hard to clean with a vacuum, as a large desk stood on it. Initially, the mystery of the untouchable carpet fascinated Harper, like Bluebeard's room. Forbidden things always entice the most. But gradually, her interest waned as her thoughts were consumed by her beloved. Today, Naomi went for a walk to avoid disturbing Harper's cleaning. Humming happily, Harper energetically got to work. First, she dusted everywhere. Then she emptied the fridge, cleaned the windows, and vacuumed the mysterious carpet. Harper sat in an armchair, thoughtfully examining the intricate pattern, trying to figure out what was so special about this small piece of fabric. Resolutely, she stood up and pushed the table away with difficulty. No, Grandma, I'll uncover your secret. The carpet can't just hold something terribly important. The carpet seemed ordinary, with indented stripes left by the table legs. Harper decided to roll it up and lifted the edge, and her eyes widened in amazement. It was something incredible. An unforgettable sight appeared before her. The entire floor under the carpet was covered with paper bills of different times and denominations, glued together with tape. There were dollars, euros, yuan, and other currencies. The sight was like opening the doors to Ali Baba's cave. Harper stood frozen, mouth agape, when she heard Naomi's mocking voice. Couldn't resist, huh? Took a look. Well, you've had enough curiosity for now. I was wondering why you weren't more curious before. Caught off guard, Harper was very flustered. I'm sorry, Grandma. I just couldn't help myself. Yes, calm down. I was going to show you everything eventually. I just needed to be sure of your integrity and modesty. And now, after these 2 years together, I can trust you. Let's go to the kitchen, have a cup of tea, and I'll tell you the story. And please put the carpet back in place. Realizing her actions, Harper carefully put down the edge of the carpet and pushed the table back to its original position. Once the tea was brewed and poured into cups, just as Naomi liked, the old woman began her tale. My late husband, Hudson, and I lived a wonderful life together. We didn't have children, so we poured all our love into each other. My husband was an educated man, a professor, and earned a good income. Besides, he wrote various manuals, monographs, and who knows what else, which brought in a decent amount of money too. But we didn't live extravagantly. You see, my Hudson was an avid collector. Not the kind that collects just anything and everything, but a true collector. They say about such people, he is widely known in narrow circles. My husband collected rare paper bills and securities, a scriptophile, in scientific terms. He used to tell me, Naomi, many of the papers in my collection, after my death, will ensure you live comfortably. But right now, I can't part with any of them. When my professor passed away, I never thought about selling any part of the collection. They were his passion, his pride. And for me, they are memories of my husband. I don't need much for a simple life. My pension covers food and utility bills. Some of his colleagues, fellow enthusiasts, have offered me huge sums for the entire collection, or at least a part of it. But like Hudson, I can't part with it. For me, selling the collection would mean selling my husband's memory. The old woman sighed deeply. Naomi, Harper said, intrigued. Why do you keep such valuable items at home, under the carpet? What if there are robbers? Wouldn't it be safer to pay for a safe deposit box at the bank? Darling, the old woman chuckled. But who in their right mind would keep such a collection at home, under the carpet? Harper laughed. Oh, you are very cunning, Naomi, but it does make sense. Exactly. And for me, that's what I need. The things dear to my heart are nearby, and I'm not afraid of theft. And since we're talking about the collection, I want to tell you something. I wrote my will a long time ago. At my age, you need to be prepared, and all my possessions, including the collection, are bequeathed to you, dear. Harper stared at the old woman in astonishment. Grandma, thank you, of course, but do you really have no one else to leave everything to? No relatives? I have no one, and I have grown to love you like my own, like the daughter I never had. You are kind and brighten my last years, maybe even my last days. You take care of me. What more do I need? And the will is my way of saying thank you. When I leave, do with the collection as you wish. Meanwhile, we can admire it together. Naomi lived for many more years. Harper got married, moved in with her husband, had a child, and was happily married. She often visited the old woman, who steadfastly refused to move in with her adopted daughter and grandson. During these visits, as had become their custom, they would push back the table, roll up the carpet, and admire the collection together. Naomi would quietly tell the story and origin of each bill, each share, each antique certificate.